Prolog. The never-ending Brazilian highways are one of those things that makes your head spin when you think about it. Like shining asphalt swords, the roads carve through mile after mile of the thickest jungle imaginable, where any ordinary guy wouldn't last 5 minutes. It's truly amazing that less than a century ago, the only routes through the green hell were 1 or 2 lone donkey trails. Nevertheless, man's drive to conquer ultimately succeeded, and so, piece by piece, the country's vast transportation system began to take form. In the 1970s, the British oil exploration vessel, Surveyor 1, conducted geological surveys off the coast of Rio de Janeiro. It was no small feat for the UK-based company to secure concession rights, especially at a time when Petrobras, Brazil's domestic oil giant, held a monopoly on oil drilling. The ambitious newcomer, Worth Oil, had an ace up its sleeve. By collaborating with a network of American, German, and Korean companies, they developed a new breed of mobile oil platforms capable of drilling at greater depths than ever before. Lord Worth, the driving force behind the undertaking, was anything but ordinary. With his family, once among England's wealthiest, now on the brink of ruin, Brett Worth needed to top up the piggy bank. After a career at a shipping company, he entered the oil business, and now his exceptional business talent became clear. Brett Worth's uncanny instinct for dodging bad investments was legendary. At a time when third-world oil fields were all the rage, his decision to stay clear was particularly wise. While some competitors emerged unscathed, most went bankrupt. Now, the young lord's reputation soared, with the business press painting him as some character from a fairy tale. At one point, it seemed that all Brett Worth had to do was set foot in a place for the oil to start gushing out. In a move later hailed as a stroke of genius, Lord Worth directed Surveyor 1 to bypass the uncharted sea floor and instead search areas previously emptied by old Petrobras platforms. This decision led to the discovery of one of the world's largest oil reserves. Built in the 1950s with outdated technology, Petrobras drilling rigs were well beyond their expiration date. Their shallow drill depth only skimmed the surface layer, leaving millions upon millions of barrels of black gold untouched beneath. Worth Oil died then and there. Brett Worth never hid the fact that he was in business to make money. His latest contracts, with the ink barely dry, turned overnight from dubious to billion-dollar enterprises, prompting the young lord to consider early retirement. What followed was unexpected. After developing a taste for Brazil during his stay, he found little appeal in returning to rainy England and the gloomy old castle. Instead, with his new oil wealth, he purchased an island just an hour's drive south of Rio de Janeiro. We'll never know why he did the things he did, but perhaps he understood the emptiness of stockpiling wealth in a bank. In any case, he dedicated the following years and an astronomical sum to transforming the area. Upon completion, the island had been turned into a world-class resort. A 150-meter bridge connected the island to the mainland, ending with a section that could be lifted like a steel gate. When raised to a 90-degree angle, it kept unwelcome visitors at bay. In addition, a security team was stationed to prevent Rio's criminal elements from disturbing the prominent guests. Bonita Resort and Club, an appropriately understated name for the facility, soon started attracting the rich and famous. Entry, however, was exclusive to the super-rich, and even then, access was not guaranteed. After a slow start, the business blossomed in the mid-80s. As it turned out, the rich had no desire whatsoever to be isolated on their own little islands. On the contrary, they quite liked hanging out with people cut from the same cloth. The rest, as they say, is history. Securing a reservation at Bonita required plenty of patience, though. The waiting list stretched over several years. Even with obscene price hikes, the billionaires kept coming, making Bonita a kind of luxury counterpart to the group travels of the 60s and 70s.
In the dream, she is a lioness. A quirk of nature has made her twice the size of others. Obscenely large, muscular, and seen as a freak, she's isolated from the pride. Her lair, high atop a hill in the savannah, overlooks the vast plains. Though lions are social creatures, she hunts alone. Life is not perfect. Nighttime brings a longing for companionship, but it's impossible, as her sheer size scare away any interested males. Night after night, she faces the harsh punishment of solitude. Curling herself into a little ball, she watches the setting sun. When darkness finally falls, sleep offers nothing but a brief escape. One morning, a white tiger appears in the distance. As the two felines lock eyes, he halts abruptly. Something about him captivates her. His size, nearly matching hers, is striking. Unlike the others, he doesn't run away. Instead, he moves closer to smell her. Warm waves of happiness comes rushing. His damp nose against hers is almost too much. Her size doesn't bother him. She shows submission by turning away and pressing herself to the ground. As he comes near, she holds his gaze, eager to show she poses no threat. She lets out a low, pained sound, hoping he'll understand her plea for help. He hesitates, nervously licking his lips before laying heavily on her and biting into her neck. That's when she wakes up,